Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, interestingly enough, at least this week, the Gaming Gang website, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief over at thegaminggang.com. In case you didn't realize that after, 16 years? Still. Welcome, everybody. Tonight is Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. This is live show 1297. If you're not familiar with this show, let me point out, it's super casual. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, mainly skewing towards role-playing games. And then I'll normally pontificate about a topic related to our hobby. Every once in a while, I might do an AMA or just chew the fat with chat. But tonight, we do have a topic. We're actually going to discuss, there's kind of a little social media bubbling about evil player characters being banned at game tables. It is something that an outlet called Nerdcognito has kind of gotten rolling along. We're going to discuss that. So I'm going to shoot some holes in what Nerdcognito is claiming, and then we will, we're going to talk. We're going to talk. I might get a little feisty. I don't know yet. But when you're not hanging around watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit the aforementioned thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. And of course, because this is a live show, there is chat available. Now you have to be a subscriber for at least, I almost said 30 minutes, 60 minutes. Yeah, 60 minutes makes up an hour, Jeff, at least in this reality. You have to be a subscriber for at least an hour before you can take part in chat. But if you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Semper Buffo. The Madman is with us, as is Keith Thulu and Matthew Constantine, and DB are all with us to start off in chat. Wouldn't be shocked. The lovely and talented Miss Sarah D is with us as well, lurking in the shadows, unless the storm front came along and blew her away. Yeah, we had, funny enough, the really extreme weather that everybody was worried about passing through our area bypassed where I live. I'm not complaining. Just saying, yeah, everybody was like, oh, there's going to be hail. And no, we got a little bit of rain. That was it for about maybe an hour. So not complaining at all. All right, let's see. Jay Mann has also jumped on into chat. All right, so let's jump on into the news because we got a lot cooking. Because now in stores from Limithron and Free League Publishing is Pirate BORG Down Among the Dead. And I've got the lowdown. A terrible expansion for Pirate BORG that's jam-packed with 3 new adventures, modular rule sets, and location generators. You've got 3 full-length, brand new adventures, new classes, skills, motivations, and house rules. Generators for Jolly Roger flags, islands, coral reefs, and coinage. As far as those adventures go, we've got Lost to the Locker, You are dead. Yet your Weasley black soul lingers on. Find out what happens to the unfortunate crew who find themselves lost to Davy Jones' locker. Then there's Venom in the Veins, an unearthly and downright strange scenario set in a haunted snake temple where the walls hiss in ways uncleansed and the ghost of a malevolent druid haunts the halls. And then finally, we've got Into the Maelstrom. In this gothic castle on a boat adventure, you'll cross cutlasses with Albrecht the Tideborn, a vampire lord, and his crew. Garlic and sunlight won't save you from monsters hungry for the blood of scurvy-ridden pirates. The 148-page A5-sized hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $39.99. If you want to just score the PDF alone, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. And of course, keep in mind, now the starter set is also available in PDF. Both of these, as of today, are now available over at DriveThruRPG. And I should also mention there might be one or two folks popping on in tonight because I'm going to announce the winner of the Pirate BORG starter set, as well as, well, what are we talking about? Down Among the Dead. I will reveal the winner after the news. I'm not going to sit there and wait till the end of the show or anything like that. I'll do it after we do the news. Sadly, I was going to try to get a review of Down Among the Dead this weekend. I did not. So that's the bad thing. Good thing is I didn't get a chance to review it because I was prepping for a game of Call of Cthulhu I ran last night. Yay. So we had fun with that. Well, I'll talk about that once we wrap up the news. Moving right along, the latest supplement for BattleTech has arrived from Catalyst Game Labs, and I've got the latest on Force Manual Mercenaries. Some soldiers fight for king and country, some for honor and glory, others for liberty or loved ones. We'll fight for that too, whatever your cause, as long as the check clears. For over 40 centuries, mercenaries have plied their trade and been instrumental in toppling empires or holding the tides of war at bay. And as mankind expanded to the stars, soldiers of fortune rose to new heights of power. Business is booming, yet along with those riches comes a dangerous life and the scorn of many who only see filthy lucre warriors. It's perilous work, but as long as you keep your mech intact and your bottom line balanced, the universe is yours. Force Manual Mercenaries contains information on the soldier for hire trade and its place in the inner sphere. This manual takes a look at some of the most renowned mercenaries of the 31st century, detailing their histories, tactics, unit crests, paint schemes, and notable personnel. This sourcebook includes special rules for unique character abilities, faction-specific rules, force building options, and a mini technical readout. Everything you need to field your favorite mercenary command on the tabletop or create your own. This is for use with BattleTech Total Warfare, as well as Alpha Strike. I think, isn't Alpha Strike like a rules later BattleTech? Or is it fewer mechs involved? I'm not positive. I don't know. I have not played BattleTech in many a moon. I always bounce around picking up a starter set when they release new ones. And I think to myself, am I going to get roped into this? I was just talking with my nephew about miniatures last night because if you follow the gaming gang, you know my nephew Cameron has gotten into minis, and now he's gotten his girlfriend Kara into it, and one of his buddies Cameron. Yes, two Camerons. And I've told him, I'm like, be careful. It can become a very, very pricey hobby. And it's far pricier now than when I was painting minis. That is for sure. But still, I'm not trying to steer you away from Battletech. This is a classic. A lot of people still play, still very popular. I know we have one of our constant viewers, Chris Lundgren, talking about Battletech all the time. I think he's more into the role-playing release for it. Well, you never know. Never know. All right, so once again, this is available in hardcover as well as in PDF. Moving right along. Well, you know what? Before we move along, let's see who else we've got in chat. Tessie Trekkie has arrived, as has Pete Strakulich. Yes, Sarah D is with us. That the Thunder's rolling, but they're still here. Just skating in from a union meeting. Yeah, she's rousing the rabble. Let's strike, everybody. Come on. Strike, 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 strike. Kidding. Hopefully, I'm kidding. Our good friend of the show, Agile Monk, has joined us. Let's see. Little Britain is back with us again. I know we've had visits from Little Britain in the past. I think I've said hello to, there you go, Tesco Love. Tesco Love is jumping on in. All right. So Matthew Constantine says, Battletech was popular at the game store they worked at in the 90s. Was never their thing. I liked Battletech. I thought Battletech was fine. As far as the, giant mech games that came out, and we had a wave of them, I always thought Battletech was pretty much the best of the ones I had a chance to try. So Tesco Love asks, when was the Battletech Mech Warrior RPG released? I think it's a while back. I do not think there is a current edition floating around. But like I said, I know Chris Lundgren has mentioned it. If Chris pops in tonight, somebody in chat can ask him about it, because he would know far more about that than I was. Funny enough, Sarah says the meeting was to remember the postal strike of 1970. Little Britain says they think it's a very cool game concept. They just don't like the cost. Hey, speaking of Battletech, now it's been a while since I went to Origins, but we used to laugh. Elliot and I used to laugh all the time. We'd be at Origins and there would be those Battletech pods where it's like virtual reality, which were actually kind of cool in like 1990. It was like, wow, these things are still around. And every once in a while you'd be able to peek in and you'd get to see like the loadout. Yeah, the screen. Yeah. Be like, wow. And that is just bad. On to our next piece. Free League Publishing has teamed up with Fanatical for a stunning deal on the Symbaroum role-playing game. I got the deets on the deal. Hardy adventurers! Are you ready to venture into the dark, gritty, and deadly world of Symbaroum, where terror and treasure may lurk around every corner? Fanatical has partnered with the exceptional Free League Publishing to bring a sensational selection of products for Symbaroum, the critically acclaimed and award-winning Nordic-inspired dark fantasy role-playing game. Tier 1 delivers everything you need to dive straight on in with the treasure hunts in Davakar. Just happens to be the starter set. Guess what? You can get that for $1. $1. I think there's even 3 other PDFs with it for $1. And you know what's coming. I'd buy that for $1. Tier 2 unlocks the core rulebook and advanced player guide, as well as the first Chronicle of the Throne expansion. Tier 3 is where you'll find all the treasure troves this Symbaroum bundle has to offer, with the full 25 products on offer, including the Game Master's Guide, Monster Codex, the 5 additional installments of the Chronicle of the Throne expansion. I believe I could have swore it's considered the Throne of Thorns campaign. I have not heard it called the Chronicle of the Throne before, but I could be wrong. Anyway, you'll also find further adventures, map packs, as well as digital cards. Whether you're a seasoned Symbaroum veteran or a novice, this bundle is a must buy to expand your game enjoyment and bring Symbaroum to dark and gritty life. All these products will be redeemed through Drive-Thru RPG. As I mentioned, you can jump on board for $1, for $1, 100 pennies, 4 quarters, 10 dimes, 20 nickels, and grab that very cool starter set, which I have reviewed, where you can shoot the works for $14.99. That's less than $1 per item for all 25 on offer. Now, this is part of the wave of GM Day bundles that have popped up over on Fanatical. We talked about a couple of them last week. I shared another one over the weekend. We also have this. I think there's 2 more we can probably tackle this week as well. And you've had a while to save, too, because these savings do run through April 18th. So, yes, another just absolutely fantastic deal over at Fanatical. I have reviewed much of Symbaroum. Sammy has actually reviewed they're calling it here, Chronicle of the Throne campaign. So those are written reviews. I seem to recall she enjoyed that adventure campaign. I think it's 5 parts, if I remember right. 5 or 6. Strike says, I already bought this to get all the PDFs. I know there's 1 or 2 of you out there who's purchased every single one of the bundles that are over on Fanatical, the GM Day sale bundles that have popped up. Because grand total, you're probably spending less than $100. That's like, holy cow. All right, so Maxpocalypse is with us. And there you go. Chris Lundgren is jumping on in. He said, I heard Jeff called my name. Yeah, we're kind of curious about the Battletech role-playing game. When did it come out? When did the last edition of it come out? Because there isn't a new edition, right? Because I had a Battletech news piece, but it was for the miniatures game. So you're the person we know who has experience with the Battletech role-playing game. So there were some questions in chat. Bard the Bear Wolfson is with us. Said the Throne titles are the 5th edition, I believe. Well, I know both of, are they just calling the campaign a different name? Because I know they like to do that at Free League Publishing when they have the home rules and then they've got the 5e, right? Like the One Ring. All the One Ring releases and the Lord of the Rings role-playing releases have different titles, although it's essentially the same content statted for either the One Ring role-playing system or 5e. So yeah, I did not know. I know we've got Ruins of Symbaroum, which is not part of this. This is only Symbaroum. So all 25 of those PDFs are Symbaroum. They are not the Ruins of Symbaroum 5e releases. So you want to save some more money? Well, speaking of role-playing game savings, Bundle of Holding has an offer featuring the 2nd edition of the Ninja Crusade from Third Eye Games. And I've got the skinny on the savings. Adventurer. Yes, I get to do it twice in one show. This new Ninja Crusade bundle presents, well, you guessed it, the Ninja Crusade, the tabletop fantasy role-playing game from Third Eye Games of ninja, conspiracies, and martial arts. For millennia, 10 warring clans of ninja aided the rise and fall of many dynasties. But years ago, after a barbarous fate doomed his family, Emperor Mamoru called the Ninja Crusade. His battalions, led by the elite Golden Lions and Silver Blades, hunted and killed ninja across the Aizu Empire. To survive, the ninja clans that had feuded for centuries were forced to band together in the Lotus Coalition. After a decade of fierce fighting, both sides see omens of an imminent final battle. Pick your clan and battle for the fate of the Empire. Use the Ninja Crusade 2nd Edition Life Path system to create unique ninja characters with gifts, a past tragedy and affliction, and emotional triggers, a la anime like Naruto. Is that how it's pronounced? I think it's pronounced that way. I've never watched it. Ninja Scroll or Basilisk. Choose a clan such as the Bamboo Herbalists, Blazing Dancers. I almost said Blazing Saddles there. I swear I almost said Blazing Saddles. Blazing Dancers, Recoiling Serpents, Masters of Poison, or Will of Iron, Wandering Magistrates. Learn secret martial jutsus from your clan. Improvise skill combos that tackle challenges in unique ways, and gain tattoos that grant bonuses to your D10 dice pools. Versatile dynamic actions let you create combat effects on the fly, and the chakras system keeps you involved throughout the battle. You'll need all your abilities to defeat the Emperor and stop his vengeful crusade for the sake of the clans and the world. This new Ninja Crusade bundle gives you the entire 2nd Edition line from Third Eye Games. Everything you need to join the Lotus Coalition and tell stories of exploration, mystery, clan politics, imperial intrigue, assassination, sabotage, light and darkness, heroic journeys, and high-flying martial arts action. For just $9.95, you'll get all 7 titles in this Ninja collection, which has a retail value of $69, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Ninja Crusade 2nd Edition rulebook, which was previously in a cornucopia offer from Bundle of Holding, 3 full-length source books, Empire's Reign, The Firebrands, and Truth and Lies, the location guide Land of Seed and Blossom, and 2 clan packs, The Outsiders and The Tricksters. Now, this popped up. This is only running for a week. It flew under my radar until this weekend. It's through tomorrow. So yes, a little slow getting it onto the news here. But the reality is, it popped up, I think, Wednesday of last week. And I just didn't notice it. But I thought that was kind of weird. It's like, wow, only a week. You see that once in a while with Bundle of Holding. We'll see like a week long. Every once in a while, I don't know if they have got the quick deals anymore. That was something they did for a while. And they would be 48, 72 hours in length. So if you are interested, do not waste time. Get on over there and grab it. All right. Chris Lundgren says about 2017 is when the last edition, the Battletech role-playing game, came out. Wow, that's actually far more recent than I would have thought. Bamboozle, great crowd is with us. Speaking of ninja, has any of you seen the AI cat ninja videos? I have not. Cooperative Waffles is also popping on in. Welcome aboard. Low Up has joined us, said, what's wrong with evil players? Well, we're going to get to that. Hey, that's a topic tonight. We haven't started talking about the topic. We're talking about the news. Keep your pants on. Chris Leonard says the reprint came out in 2022. Okay, cool. Matthew Constantine says, Matthew Dudikoff is the only ninja I acknowledge. Wait a second. What about Van Cleef? You know, he's not one. Lee Van Cleef, come on. Those are wacky episodes of MST3K because that was a TV show that they cut, they edited and stitched some stuff together to make movies that they sold overseas. Ben Foster is also joining us tonight. All right. Anyway, so Chris Leonard says they got to rock on out. Well, we'll see you later if you pop back in. Yes. Matthew says, oh, yeah, Lee Van Cleef. You're right. They're two. Keith Lewis said, I'd rather clean a gas station restroom with my tongue than use thieving ChatGPT or Midjourney. Yeah. I'm with you on that. You know, I'm an anti-AI guy. First of all, I think most of AI is just absolute bullshit. The promises they're making, what it's going to be able to do. No. All it's going to do is take people's jobs. And it's already done that. It's going to just continue to do that. But, you know, if any of you out there watch The Expanse, you may recall that the Earth had a problem where the vast majority of the population of Earth had nothing to do. You might remember that. It wasn't a big storyline, but I think it was something like 80% of humanity had no jobs. They had, because the jobs didn't exist. So it's like, oh, okay, all right. Good times, feel good stories, right? Yes. All right, final news piece. Now available in PDF from Barrel Writer Games is White Box Quarterly. Here's what I know. White Box Quarterly is, as the name implies, a quarterly digital zine that provides new resources for your white box cyclopedia and other white box-based games. Each issue includes a new heritage, a new class, new monsters, new magic items, a short adventure, and new optional rules. In this inaugural issue, you're going to find the cunning and gangrel skulking halfling heritage. I've got a cunning halfling, me lord. The Rural Protector Reeve class. Troublesome monsters right in your own hometown, like the Larder Dragon, the Two-Headed Ogre, and the Whopper Fish. So is it a sandwich that looks like a Burger King Whopper, but it's really a fish sandwich? Is that what that is? Hey, that's just to name a few. The player characters will need to face off against some unexpected dangers if they hope to help a few foolhardy halflings to bridge the gap. I believe that's our adventure. The cunning figurine of the tavern rat. I'm not going to do two cunnings in one show. Will help you find a free mug of ale, and with a loaf of the lost traveler, you'll always find your way home. Wouldn't you think that would just give you food? Loaf of the lost traveler? I mean, I get the lost traveler part. But it's a loaf? Okay. Hey, it's old school Renaissance stuff. Might be a little wacky. Finally, new rural strongholds are introduced, as player characters can now construct rural homesteads, a riverside fishery, or even raise horses on their own ranch. Simple, printer-friendly layout combined with classic line art evokes an era of gaming 50 years in the making. This 28-page PDF is available over at DriveThruRPG for $4.99. Very cool. I thought this looked pretty neat. And I do understand White Box Cyclopedia is a very big seller over at DriveThruRPG. I think it's an Electrum level seller, which is pretty high up there. So nice. So this is from Barrel Writer Games once again. All righty. That was the news for this evening. Now, of course, I did mention DriveThruRPG. Don't forget the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to go visit, say, I don't know, DriveThruRPG, Storytellers Vault, Wargame Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild. There are a slew of One Bookshelf sites. If you're happening to swing over to one, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale as a commission. And all those commissions really do add up. Help keep thegaminggang.com website around. Truly, no joke. Very, very serious about that. Speaking of drive-through RPG, should also point out the GM's Day sale is still continuing on. Savings up to 40% on thousands upon thousands of PDFs. In fact, some that I reviewed over the weekend, some releases that are available in PDF. I didn't review the PDFs. I reviewed the physical items. So I think you only get a couple of days left on that. So it's not like the bundles over on Fanatical where you've got until April 18th to take advantage of those. I do think that this runs out. Well, I know it's not going to last throughout this week. So we got that. All right, we got a few more people who've popped on into chat. Let's see. We've got Coco B with us. Coco B RPG now. Ooh. Check out that nickname. Kevin King is also with us, as is Ravenclaw. Nice. Very nice. Sarah D says tornado sirens are going off there. You know what? It's weird. Trying to hear. Because for a couple of moments back when I was reading the news, it sort of sounded like it might be raining pretty hard outside. Maybe not. Because Sarah D is not that far away from me. I think we're about 20 miles apart. So, yes, be very careful, Sarah. Man, you know, kind of on topic, but not to like be a bummer. There's a documentary on Netflix, and it's about the tornado that hit. Yeah, it is pouring rain out. I can hear it now. That's weird because when they were showing radar earlier, it looked like it had passed us by and it was already into the, into the next county. Anyway, but it was a tornado. I'm trying to remember. Let's say it was Tennessee. And I remember my brother, if you follow the gaming gang, I used to deliver RVs around the country. And sometimes I'd do trucks as well. But my brother did mainly trucks. And he would travel out of North Carolina and then go like out west with him. So he drove through. Damn, I can't remember. I mean, it was huge devastation. And he drove through there about a week after that tornado had torn through. And he was shocked. He's talking about, he was blown away. No pun intended. But it was like, he said it was just horrifying to see all that. But somebody just asked, there we go. Tessie Trekkie, does Chicagoland have tornado problems, including the city? City really doesn't. I can't tell you last time there's been a tornado that touched down in the city of Chicago proper. I'm sure they have, and if they were, they were not something that went like just ran through miles of the city. We get tornadoes. We're certainly not Tornado Alley by any stretch. But yeah, we do get tornadoes from time to time. We've had I want to say there was once, was it last year or year before, during late spring, early summer, I was doing a live show and the tornado sirens went off here. And it was kind of like my dad yells down from upstairs. 'Cause I mean, I think everybody knows Duct Tape Studios is the basement. It's an unfinished basement here. Just is my little corner of it. And he's like, "Oh, the sirens are going off." And I'm like, "Well, I'm in the place that we would be anyway." I'm like, "This is where we would take shelter, is down here in the basement." So, yeah, thankfully the power didn't go out. So I guess right now, I will point. Now I just heard some thunder. I will mention that our power in storms, our power does go out a little more often than elsewhere I have lived. So don't be shocked if suddenly the stream cuts out. Fingers crossed we get through it. But we'll see. We'll find out. I mean, if big deal, it's raining. It's, if we suddenly have big, 50 mile an hour, 70 mile an hour gusts of wind. Well, yeah, maybe we will find the show coming to a quick end. If it does end, I will not begin another stream because it ends up being 2 shows and it's just I can't combine the 2 together or anything like that. All right. So let's move things along. So I was talking about TTRPG. If you happen to enjoy the Gaming Gang and like to support the outlet, you can do so in a couple of other ways. One, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Oh, classic good taste. And you can even become a monthly member of our Patreon, as a few of those in chat happen to be. In fact, during the live streams, I always like to share a thank you to our Patreon members. Tip of the cap, I always say. So, thank you very kindly to Caval, Kevin R. Smith, Talzek, Sean O'Donnell, Herman Ludman, Gustavo Cavalho, Matt Weiss, Kevin King, GameCat, RPG Munch, Tier 2 DM, Pete Stracklich, Dan Webb, Tessie Trekkie, Agile Monk, and the Madman. Much appreciated, everyone. All right. So you may have noticed, if you checked out my review of the Pirate BORG starter set, I got an extra copy. I got an extra copy of the starter set. I got an extra copy of Down Among the Dead. So I had a contest. And everybody had a little more than a week to get into it. So if you were interested in it and you didn't get into the running, well, you've got no one to blame but yourself. Anyway, I just asked people to share their favorite. I'm trying to say favorite and pirate as one word because I'm in such a hurry. I try to combine words. I asked folks to share in the comment section their favorite pirate movie and how they might incorporate something from it into a game of Pirate BORG. Got a good number of comments. I think about 80 people, 75, 80 people. So I got the winner. So the winner is Chris Cap Gamer. So it's Chris Cap, Kapp, Gamer. And if you're not familiar how these contests work, what you need to do is you need to email Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com from the email address that's associated with your YouTube account. So it's your Gmail. Contact me and get me your shipping address. I will get these out to you. Sweet. Very cool. And thank you, everybody, for taking time out to get into the running. Something else to mention, I've had people asking if I'm going to do another March Madness bracket with the role-playing games all going head-to-head. Probably not. I don't have a ton of time to devote to it. And it is, amazingly enough, it doesn't look like it takes much, but it really actually does. So I am more than likely not going to. Just like I didn't do the Halloween spooktacular this past October. I didn't have spare time. Kind of the same thing going on right now. So I know the reality of it is, I think all in all, maybe 300 people took part. So, I mean, that's maybe even a stretch. It might have been like 250. I mean, it wasn't that big a deal. So, Bamboozled Great Crowd says the Seahawk, hands down. Cooperative Waffles points out Dallas has a tornado watch currently. Wow. Okay. So, the Madman said they checked the weather radar. There's a small storm cell over you. Unfortunately, it looks like a bigger cell is right behind this one. Hooray! Ravenclaw says men our age need to lay off the soda. Well, I actually drink caffeine-free, sodium-free. Well, okay, I take that back. I used to drink sodium-free, but now it's impossible to find Diet Right any place. So I drink low sodium soda. All right. So there you have it. There is the contest winner. I also mentioned that I did some reviews over the weekend. I would have got maybe a couple more up, but we decided we were going to get together to play some Call of Cthulhu last night. So I needed to prep for that. I did start running a published adventure, A Time to Harvest, because I wasn't going to devote a ton of time to like knocking together. Because what I tend to do is I tend to take published adventures and then I kind of deconstruct them a little bit. So I toss out things that I'm not too keen on. So that's the Shrike says, so you're drinking artificially sweetened carbonated water? Yes. Why, yes. Yes, I am. Anyway, speaking of the reviews, in case you missed it, I reviewed Denizens of the Blood Sands. This is for Old School Essentials. It's essentially for any retro clone, really. Fun stuff. I thought this was kind of cool. This is from RPG Ramblings, if I remember correctly. Yes. RPG Ramblings, a publication. Also shared Wicked Witch of the Woods, which is a kind of a one-shot for first-level characters for Shadow Dark. And this is from Runeforged Tabletop Gaming. And then finally got around to sharing my review of Riverbank from Cobalt Press. Got that out. So I think some people were kind of surprised by my review, but I did point out that I would suck trying to run Riverbank because I can tell. I know it. I can tell. Ben Foster says they bought Blood Sands used with Cyborg. Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, because I point out in the review, you could easily utilize Denizens of the Blood Sands with any sort of kind of post-apocalyptic, maybe with a little twist of gonzo to it, like your Mutant Futures, your Mutant Crawl Classics. Yeah, sure, you got to do some tweaks mechanically, but not a ton. So, well, let's see. Did I see someone new popped into chat? Maybe I'm just imagining things. Maybe it was Ben Foster. Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't think I said hello to Ben. So hello, Ben Foster. Sarah D says the sirens are gone there, but they're going off to the east. Be safe. It's heading in my general direction. Well, I do not hear them. And I'll tell you what I do hear. I know you aren't picking it up on this microphone, but I do hear that the Weather Channel is on upstairs. So there you go. That's Strikey says, nothing wrong with knowing what games you prefer to run. If you asked me to run a deeply emotional, powered by the apocalypse game, I'd fail. But a group of angry dwarven murder hobos, sign me up. Yes. All right. Anyway, so that's what's been cooking. So we had a good time with Call of Cthulhu last night. We actually got through the first chapter. It was my brother, my nephew Cameron, and his girlfriend. So reason why I changed gears and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to running Call of Cthulhu just because I wanted to run some OSR stuff, but I can't get 4 people to the table enough to be able to pull that off. And I do not want to be running a game where it's like, oh, we get to play a session every 2 months. So I figured, okay, go with Call of Cthulhu because for one, I've been running it forever. I could run it with one person. And there isn't like that. You don't specifically have to have that group dynamic that you would in most fantasy role-playing games, right? It's like, okay, I don't need to have the fighter, the cleric, the magic user, right? The thief. You don't necessarily need that. But Kevin King says, I think I'd have difficulty with Blue Rose. Yeah, I could see people having a problem with that. I mean, running it. I know there are people who really enjoy it too. I've never taken a peek at it. I just know of it on kind of like peripherally. So, hey, not every role-playing game is going to be everybody's bag of tricks. On that note, tonight's topic that we're going to dive into is about banning evil player characters at your game table. And we're going to dive on into that. Hang on, what is going on here? And we're going to dive into that. It's something that's kind of bubbling on social media. An outlet. I think they do podcasts and stuff mainly. Had said that game tables are banning evil player characters. That is their clickbaity topic. And we're actually going to talk a little, well, we'll talk, maybe not just a little bit. We'll talk about that. I might shoot down some of their claims. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
My name is Maisie the Raisin.
And my name is Jake the Flake.
Oh, what a sweet combination we make.
Known to the world as post-raisin bran flakes.
We've got a story to tell you.
It happened not too long ago.
Rah, 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 rah. Here's Hotfoot Harry, the star of the track. It's the meat of the year, but alas and alack. His body is willing, but his spirit is low. With a shot put, he hits his own toe. He's big and he's strong, but he's feeling so sad. His pole vault is faulty. Too bad, poor Harry's so low that he can't clear the hurdle. In fact, in this race he got beat by a turtle.
Hey, Harry, come on, try some post-raisin bran.
You'll be back on the track, a right happy man, 'cause the flavor of the raisins and the flakes combined makes the best kind of eating that a fella can find. The raisins are a-making all the flakes taste swell, while the flakes make the raisins delicious as well. One bowl and Harry is back in the race with a song in his heart and a smile on his face. He runs like a deer once again, he's the star. His broad jumps the longest by far. Yes, post-raisin bran makes a real breakfast treat. It's a blue ribbon winner that just can't be beat.
I'm Maisie the raisin.
I'm Jake the flake.
Together we're post-raisin bran, that's us.
You'll love this great fruit and cereal treat. Ask Mom next time she shops to get post-raisin bran.
I take this man till death do us part.
Do you know what'll happen tonight if Papa catches up to us before sundown?
Yeah, nothing. When the wedding is over, the honeymoon begins. And when their honeymoon begins, terror takes over. A nightmare honeymoon. The uninvited guests are fear, fright, and murder.
I don't understand why they'd let us stay alive.
No one can know. I don't want anybody to know.
Hang on to me!
It's not enough to be alive.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The reason you don't understand is that you don't know what it is to be in love. To love someone more than you love yourself, which is what I thought we had.
Where does he live?
9 months they trained me in 50 different ways to kill.
Thank heavens it's only a movie. I love you.
We're gonna have a little game and it's gotta be fun.
No.
Thank heavens it's only a movie.
No, not yet. Don't warn him before I tell you. It's got to be perfect. Don't touch your hair on him!
Please do not see it with someone you love.
Thank heavens it's only a movie. Thank heavens it's only a movie. Thank heavens it's only a movie. Thank heavens that's a movie I have not watched. Wow. Talk about some overacting there. I do have to chuckle because Cthulhu was right on the same wavelength as I am watching that. So Cthulhu said, entering Louisiana, that's your first mistake. I'm sort of like, what happens in Louisiana stays in Louisiana, especially the bodies. Pete's Reichwitz says, okay, they're going to watch that one. Yes. I think the reason why Pete Strackledge actually hangs out to watch the show is for him to get his next film to stream on YouTube. I think that's really the main reason why. Harvey Chuckles is with us tonight. Might be a first time visit in chat, so welcome aboard. Very nice. All righty. So tonight's topic, let's talk. And I'm opening the floor to everybody who is hanging out in chat. And of course, as always, with any topics that I kind of discuss, that we tackle here. If you're not watching live, do not hesitate. share your thoughts in the comments section whenever you have an opportunity to watch. Super DPL is also joining us tonight. Might be a first-time visit for them as well, because I don't recognize the nickname. All right. So an outlet called Nerd Cognito, who I am not really familiar with. I think they're mainly podcasters, and I think they have a series of different podcasts. So they broke news that, and I think they're trying to get this in front of like Dungeons and Dragons players and dungeon masters. I think this is what they're aiming at, not necessarily just role playing in general. And they point out that tables are banning evil player characters. Shocking. Super DPL says they're here since 3,000 subs. That's you've been here a long time. Time zone issues. Oh, well, thank you for joining us. So, I will get into your thoughts in just a few moments. But the first thing I'm going to point out is this ain't nothing new. I've pointed out before many, many times that I have not run a campaign with evil characters. Also want to point out the vast majority of the sessions I have run over more than 40 years is Call of Cthulhu. So you don't have, alignments and things like that. Players can do whatever they want. And I have had player characters do, less than savory things or, illegal things in their game world and stuff like that. But I can't say that any of the characters were, insane, cultists or anything like that. So I really can't claim to have ever really had the opportunity to run something where the player characters were evil. Do I have a big, oh my God, we can't do that? No, not at all. But it was kind of funny because it was like the way that it's presented, and maybe I'm misreading this, but the way that I see it being presented by Nerd Cognito is like, oh my God, this is something that's going on. It's something new. The losers playing Dungeons and Dragons, they're such pussies that now they've banned, evil characters at their game tables. I saw a commenter say something like sissies. And I kind of laughed and I thought to myself, sissies? What are you going to start inviting people to join the He-Man Woman Haters Club next? And hey, don't eat the milk. It's spoiled. It's like, sissies? Who the hell uses that word anymore? I saw Kevin King had mentioned Strixhaven, where it was like, what? No conflict? Everybody's like, just boring. You gotta realize, a lot of people nowadays, a lot of role players out there, and I talk about this all the time. There is no wrong fun. You enjoy what's going on at your game table, as long as nobody loses an eye, nobody's feelings are crushed. Enjoy. That doesn't mean I'm going to want to sit down and play, but I'm not here to tell anybody how to do things at their game table. But the fact that game masters, dungeon masters for decades, since the beginning of the hobby, many of them have been, I don't want to run a role-playing a campaign, adventure, what have you, where the characters are evil. And somebody, J-Man says, first of all, the GM or group needs to define evil. Yeah, because there's a lot of shades of gray in the world. And that's how I kind of like to reflect it in my role-playing games, where it's not, nothing's ever really clear cut. And everybody has, characters have layers to them. But to make it out as if it's suddenly something new, oh my God, Dungeon Masters. And I guess maybe what they're trying to imply is it's not the Dungeon Masters, it's the players who are, banning evil characters at their game tables, regardless of what their Dungeon Master says. Which to me doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. To be honest, I think this whole topic was created just to get eyes on Nerd Cognito. I mean, that's the reality. I did take a peek at over on X, some of the back and forth between, X is a cesspool anyway. I'm always thinking about, should I just close my account over here? But there are people who are on X who, that's how they find out about the news pieces and stuff. I mean, all I really do on X is post links to the news pieces on thegaminggang.com and links to the videos. There really isn't much, like, oh, hey, hi, everybody. A little bit, not much. But the back and forth, in my opinion, personally, I thought was very rude. And not necessarily on the respondents' part. That there was some pushback from people. And I mean, there was some that were like insulting. Yeah. So I could see being a dick back to them. But there were some who were just pointing out, hey, it's always been like this. And then whoever's in charge of their account was coming back with some fairly rude comments. And I was like, I took a peek at the 4 people who are, I guess, part of their main podcast or whatever. I didn't dig too deep. I got to be honest. And I thought, well, they don't really look like edgelords. Like, they look like people who'd be doing your standard D&D sort of actual play stuff. And I think they do actual plays also. But this isn't something new where game masters are like, I don't want that. Now, once again, how do you define evil? As J-Man asked. The way I would define it, I do not want to sit there and game through like raping and pillaging. Mainly the first. Little pillaging, some plundering. Yeah, I'm okay with that. The other stuff, no. I'm not here as a game master to help somebody get their rocks off. That's not what that's not my bag. So, and I have had situations where players at a table who were not used to being at my game table started trying to take games in directions that was like, oh, no. Remember starting to run a Warhammer fantasy role play. It was probably going to be a one shot, to be honest. And the first thing when the characters are in town and they don't know each other yet, it was the adventure out of the starter set, which is actually pretty good. I like the way that the player characters all get thrown together. And it was right off the bat, they're going to the brothel. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you're going to spend your time at the brothel. And then he's like, yeah, so I'm going to go. I'm like, no. I mean, it's like, no, that's not how we play. I'm like, yeah, you're okay. Your character goes to the brothel. I know what happens there. We don't need to discuss. And and there was somebody's girlfriend at the table too who didn't know this person, right? So funny enough, most of the people at the table didn't know who this person from Adam or Eve, right? It's like, no, 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 no. I don't mind characters doing bad things. That opens up a huge opportunity to mess with your players because, Justice has a pretty long arm, right? So, Miss Sarah D is going to bust out that band hammer. But I could see people saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to play in a game where, murder hobos is one thing. Murder hobos aren't out there. Well, I guess maybe they do. I have not dealt with too many murder hobos at the game table, but it's not like they're putting the entire town to the sword, right? It's murder hoboing is just the way I've always seen it is that there's no negotiation. There's no parlay. There's no, okay, let's sneak past these monsters. No, murder hobos are like, all right, let's kill it. Hey, that thing's coming out. It's waving a white flag. Kill it. Yeah. But it's sort of like evil characters. Like if we're talking alignment, right? Lawful evil, if you think about it, you take a look at most anti-heroes, both in literature and film. You could probably figure, for the most part, they're lawful evil. You can't say Charles Bronson in Death Wish is, chaotic good. You can't say Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver. I think I would say Travis Bickle is probably the most difficult main character to root for in a film. And I think the only real challenge to that is There Will Be Blood. I don't recall Daniel Day-Lewis's character's name, but he's supposed to be like the hero of the tale. And you're like, oh, man, hate this guy. But that makes for excellent film. So having characters that are evil doesn't bother me. It's how you go about role playing that I would be like, where it's like, well, I'm an evil character, so everyone we encounter, I have to murder. No, I don't think I want to go there at my game table. All right, so let's jump in. Let's see what people are saying in chat. But I think the big point here is this outlet kind of making this claim like this is what the pussy 5e Dungeons and Dragon players are up to now, sort of thing. Because, everybody likes to shit on them all the time. And hey, I'm not necessarily in their corner all the time either. But once again, as I said, whatever you enjoy playing, if you want to have like, a role-playing game, it's all about tea parties. And every adventure has something to do with a new tea party. Enjoy it. Have fun. Have a good time with your friends, your family, and such. I'm not going to sit down and play, but still, I'm not going to take that enjoyment away from you. All right. Anyway, like I said, it feels like this is manufactured. But I did want to address it because this has been going on for decades, where and I mean, some game masters out there, they're fine with it, or maybe they have a lot of fun running something where the characters are just over the top evil, where each of the player characters is trying to one up the other as far as how vicious and vile they can be. Okay, well, once again, if you enjoy that, if that's a good way for you to vent your frustrations at the game table as opposed to taking it out on humanity in general, well, okay, that's cool with me. Once again, I just probably wouldn't want to be sitting there at the game table, either as a player or as a game master, when it's something like that. If it's, yeah, okay, well, I did something evil. Yeah, okay. So, I pushed the little old lady down the stairs and I took all her treasure. Okay, well, that's evil. Okay. I'm not going to be like, oh, that's it. Game's over. Like, yeah, all right. Now, if somebody wanted to role play doing other things to the old lady, no, not going to happen at my table. Okay, so Loeb says, I think evil is fine as long as they're not too cartoony evil. Like in BORG, there's plenty of evil classes, but since all player characters are all on the same team, they work together. Yeah, I would think when somebody's running in any role-playing game, when it's a campaign that's focused on player characters who are an evil group, that they can work together. That's something else with evil characters that sometimes I have heard. Once again, I have not seen, but I have heard where it can kind of get to the point where those players are all trying to one up each other on, how bad is my character? Ooh. Sort of like, plus it got to the point where it's like a lot of player versus player. That's not my bag really either. Tessie Trekkie says, I don't mind evil characters, but the various groups I play with have hard lines against sexual violence, words that YouTube would demonetize Jeff for. Yep. Completely understand that. Bamboozled Great Crowd says, when the party decides to become murder hobos, that's evil. Pete Stracklet says, as a DM, it's my responsibility to create adventure hooks for all my players, chaotic, neutral, and lawful, then come up with a common goal, take the challenge. Yeah, because if you think about it, if we go way back to various different PC role-playing games, a lot of times you would have party members, and you would have to have a party that had good and evil characters in it. Didn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense, probably, but you did. But of course, I'm going way back to the day. Super DPL. I am also old, as you stated in one of the intros to the channel. Yeah. So am I. Agile Monk. Well, I can see keeping evil characters out of hero/good guy games. There's nothing wrong with playing a table full of all bad, evil characters that are trying to destroy the world they are in. No, once again, I don't see an issue with it. It's so weird. I think we've gotten to the point where we live in a society, at least here in the United States. Let me point out. I don't want to throw other countries under the bus. But it seems as if so many people here in the United States now, number one, can't mind their own fucking business. They gotta shove their nose into everybody else's business. And it's stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with the person whose nose is getting shoved in there. So that's one. And then number two, they have to blow everything out of proportion. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world because of X. And then it's kind of funny because you sit there and you think to yourself, what would that person do in a real crisis? Oh my gosh. All the electricity, the entire power grid where you live has been knocked out, as in permanently. Are their heads just going to explode? Will they just turn to vapor? Because, I mean, that's, real crisis. Not, oh my God, my neighbor does this in the privacy of their own home. Age of Adventure is with us in chats as Dr. Evil. $1 million. Matthew Constantine says, I like the idea of a game where folks start up a thieves guild or even a mythos type cult, but it depends on the game. Super DPL, I had a PC once who was a police officer in real life. He was the most evil menace I have ever seen, and the party was with a cleric and paladin of Pelor. Funny enough, I've had friends who were in law enforcement over the years. Yeah. Kind of like, whoa. Matthew also points out, I don't really like alignment. I've never been a huge fan, and I get it. Mainly it's there so you can tack things on. Oh, well, only a good alignment character can do this. Oh, only someone who's lawful good is able to cast this spell or detect evil, banish evil, Say they lean towards law versus chaos, not good versus evil. Harvey Chuckles says it's the first time their internet's been good enough to watch live. Oh, congrats. Okay. Quite a few comments here in chat, and for some reason, the chat box just went doink all the way down to like the newest comment. I'm like, damn it, wait a second. Is it evil to send a hireling in without a 10-foot pole? I got to be honest. That hireling's going to be rolling some morale. That hireling might be like, yeah, I don't need this job. TV says they were away from the keyboard, but the sissies thing made them laugh. Don't eat the milk. Yeah, that's a deep dive. And here's the thing. I'm not going to give away what it's from, but for years, I thought it was mush. Don't eat the mush. It's spoiled. It's not. It's don't eat the milk. It's spoiled. See I think some folks already know what that's from. DB being one of them. Mamman said, I played a borderline every character once. I role-played his battle with the evil inner voices. It worked well, and the GM was all for it. Great role-playing experience. Well, without evil, you don't have the redemption arc. You've only got the opposite, right? The fall. So you got that. What did Gary Gygax say? Why is evil in the game? And it's like, well, what's good supposed to fight against? But I don't necessarily think that was an answer towards, well, why play an evil character? Super DPL says, I don't think anyone's banning evil. It's more like everybody's banning the Joker type character, which ruined the narrative of a game. Well, that's just a bad player. Ravenclaw says, it's still Twitter to me. I know. So it's like, so is it a zeet? Is that what we call it now? Because everybody still calls it a tweet. So yeah, I was over on X tweeting. So I always jokingly say it's a zeet. Pete Rackledge says, Jeff, your topics lately have been A+. Well, thank you. The change of format. Got to try to keep you folks entertained. And if not entertained, at least involved. Tomorrow's topic, I think, is going to be D20 versus D100. I know. Hey, got to keep in mind, though, that for the most part, many of these topics come from you folks, either in chat or commenting or shooting me an email like, hey, Jeff, what do you think of this? All right. Ravenclaw says one time one of their Warhammer Fantasy roleplay characters killed a 10-year-old boy, but he was a mutant and inadvertently causing an uprising in the Empire. Well, okay, so I'll give you an example. If you're not overly familiar with A Time to Harvest, which is the campaign I kicked off last night, and I'm almost positive nobody who played last night is going to watch this episode, so I can share this. There is a cult in this small town, and it's all kids. And shit hits the fan. So that'll be a tricky episode there as far as that game. Let's see. Matthew says they've been lucky. They've had some crap players over the years, but nobody tried creeping at my table. Only seen it twice in 40 plus years. That's why the last time it happened, it threw me off because the person who did it, I was not expecting that from. Peter Ecklet says, this is borderline censorship against alignment. Before you run your game, establish if it's R, PG, or G. That's it. Game table is a safe place for role play. Hey, that's something else that I should kind of, I kind of agree with Peter Ecklet about that. The whole, evil characters being banned at the game table. Didn't people like have a discussion before you all sat down to play a game? I mean, I'm not talking about you got to have a whole session 0 where everybody has to share all their fears and kinks and shit like that. I'm just saying, didn't they get together and be like, okay, so what kind of game are you looking to play, everybody? Didn't that happen? So it shouldn't be something like, oh my gosh, what a shock. Agile Monk said, yeah, it was a great example with Death Wish, Jeff. Coco B says they were a murder hobo at 11, got out of their system back then. Well, a lot of times when you're a young kid playing a role-playing game, you don't think of nonviolent resolutions. It's more like, yeah, ha, ha. It's like a lot of people like to talk about how people who play role-playing games are powerless. They're playing role-playing games. It's a power fantasy. Not necessarily, not everybody. Some people, a lot of people, in fact, they just want to sit around with their friends, their family, and have a good time and have a fun story and get away from the mundane bullshit that fills this life. All right, so some characters being tossed out there from film and literature, I believe, too. Harvey Chuckle says, I think I prefer the lack of alignment in basic fantasy, though. Yeah, as long as you have like abilities and spells and magic items and stuff like that that are not like hooked to an alignment, right? Like certain things, only an evil character can use this. Yeah, that's fine. The mini chest is joining us. Welcome. Kim King says, if evil is defined in part as taking pleasure in the pain of others and role-playing that, I draw the line at the Punisher, not interested in heavy sadism or the like. I would agree with you on that. Bard the Bear Wolfson says, some games are based on evil like Iron Kingdoms Unleashed or World of Darkness games. I don't like player against player or sexual themes at the game table. I'm with you on that. Little Britain says, I don't care if it's censorship. No one has the right to join my game. It's invite only in the first place. See, that's another thing, too. It's like, if you're the host and you're the game master, or you're the game master, because that's not always the same. The game master is not always the host. It is by invite only. It's not, oh, well, hey, you stopped by, you looked in the window, you saw we had a table set up and we were rolling dice, and you're like, yeah, I'm getting on board that. No, it's not how it works. It's your house, your game, your rules. Pete Strackledge says, benefit of running a level 0 is to gauge your players. You'll find the type of players that you'd like to continue running the game for. That's something else that kind of throws me. Do people not have friends anymore? I'm just wondering. I'm just asking. Because a lot of times when people are talking about their game tables, it's sort of like, what did you do? Did you go online? Just, hey, anybody interested in playing this? No one was interested in playing the game that you're wanting to run or you want to play. I mean, I get it where it's like, everywhere you turn, it's people playing D&D. Okay, yeah, maybe it'd be a little difficult to find, a game outside of that, but I don't know. I just find it weird because it's sort of like some people talk as if they're shackled with players that they did not invite to their game table or that they did not want it. Little Britain says, I know some podcasters pronounce it shitter. Yeah. Tabletop Scholars with us says, we played AD&D 2E, really only banned chaotic evil, but the unspoken rule was don't be a douchebag, right? Or you just won't be welcome at the table. Let's see. Grimy Son of Groin is with us. I believe it's first time visit. Says, Arthur, where is evil in this kingdom? Merlin, where you always least expect it. Little Britain also points out, I love the trait system in Pendragon. It sidesteps alignment beautifully. A lot of people who don't understand how the mechanics of Pendragon are supposed to work tend to complain that the system hamstrings them, that they're railroaded into having to do certain things. And that is not really true. Loeb says they like how BORG approached players being cultists as unlike other Cthulhu role-playing games. And yes, I know my pronunciation of Cthulhu bothers some people out there. It's like, well, I'll tell you what, I will pronounce it like all of the major horror authors pronounce Cthulhu. If it's okay for them, it should be all right for me. Let's see. Matthew Constantine says, sadly, most of my group isn't in role-playing games. Some are into board games. They're okay with the occasional one-shot. Nobody's really into anything regular or ongoing. I think the problem that most people encounter is they just can't get together enough to make it worthwhile to have a role-playing game campaign. DB says finding players close to their age is a challenge in their town. Yeah. I mean, I would love to play. I'd love to be able to get into a group in the area here. And I wouldn't even mind running something. Once again, I'd be sitting there like, okay, I'm sure I could get a couple of people to regularly show up. But then am I going to have to fill in the group with some randos? As my nephew's girlfriend calls people that she doesn't know. They just pop up out of nowhere. Randos. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't care about playing with people who are younger than me or a lot younger than me. I wouldn't want to sit and have to play in a campaign where it's like 10-year-old kids. But no, people in their 20s, late teens, I got no beef with that. So, all right, that is it for this time out. Hour and a half show. That's cool. Like I said, I think tomorrow's topic will be talking about the D20 versus D100, essentially the two systems, because I know a lot of people out there are like, no, I won't play a percentile based game. And other people are like, D20. So we'll talk a little bit about that. All righty. So if you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watch live and took part in chat, tip of the cap to you, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company as I share the news or I'm talking about a topic, what have you. And of course, my dad has come down here probably to tell me about the weather as I'm wrapping up. Anyway, also, if you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know, if you select all notifications, it'll not only let you know when the dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. It'll also inform you when I share other videos, such as my recent review of Denizens of the Blood Sands from RPG Ramblings publication. I almost said publishing. Publication. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. I'll be back tomorrow. And as always, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.